So on Saturday morning, I wake up and I say, you know what? I'm going to make myself some breakfast. I'm going to turn on the TV and I'm going to watch The Little Giants. I have no idea if you guys have ever heard of that movie, but it was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. I loved it. It's pretty much about a team that is literally full of kids that have never played football or whatever, but they end up finding a way to win. I don't know if you've ever heard of the annexation of Puerto Rico. It is one of their famous drives that they did, one of their plays of that movie. It was just funny. But I said, damn, I think the Dolphins really do have a chance to win this game. So I go on, do my podcast, and I said the Dolphins were going to win. And boy, let me tell you, I was wrong. Welcome to Excuse That Miamians, episode, I believe, 53. I think that I was supposed to upload 51, but I didn't because I wasn't able to edit it. So I guess we just have a blank 51. But 53, and AFC wildcard playoffs. Kansas City Chiefs end up beating the Miami Dolphins 26-7 in a game that I really did think Miami was going to be able to do enough and be able to win the game. And unfortunately, I just think a lot of what Miami did offensively just did not work. I don't know what the game plan was going in. As I was watching the game, I was like, what are they doing? So I want to talk a little bit about the weather. I want to talk about everything. I'm not going to put excuses out here. Miami lost the game. That is it. You went to the playoffs, whether you're injured, how many players you have, you still have to go out there and you have to win the game because nobody cares about the injury. Once people look back at it, they're going to be like, oh, that's the final score. Dolphins lost. If Tua was playing or if Tua wasn't playing, we still lost. And that's just how it was last year and this year. I mean, it is what it is. Back-to-back first-round exits, pretty much. So before I start, I want to talk a little bit about the scoring summary, and I'm going to be going over some stats and everything. So let's go with stats first. You had Tua 20 for 39, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interceptions. He got sacked twice, and he had a QBR of 15. Actually, 63.9. That is not good at all. Actually, QBR, wow, 15.8. Yes, not good. On the other side, for Miami's rushing, Raheem Mostert, 8 carries, 33 yards. Tua, 3 carries, 25 yards. Jalen Waddle, 1 carry, 9 yards. Devon Achane, 6 carries, 9 yards. No touchdowns, by the way. Receiving, Tyreek Hill, 5 receptions, 62 yards, 1 TD. Cedric Wilson, 3 catches, 37 yards. River Craycraft, 2 catches, 33 yards. Jalen Waddle, 2 catches, 31 yards. Devon Achane, 3 catches, 21 yards. And Durham Smythe, 3 catches, 12 yards. 1 touchdown for Tyreek. Besides that, that is all Miami did offensively. When you look at those stats, I'm like, wow, for the number 1 offense in the entire NFL for the whole season, we did that. I couldn't believe it. We're going to go to Kansas' side. You have Patrick Mahomes, 23 for 41, 262 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, QBR of 88.3. Isaiah Pacheco for Kansas City rushing had 24 carries, 89 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 2 carries, 41 yards. His longest was 28. I'll talk about that later. Pretty much Clyde Edwards, he had 7 carries, 21 yards. For Kansas City receiving, Rashee Rice, 8 receptions, 130 yards. Travis Kelce, 7 for 71. Noah Gray, 1 for 20. Justin Watson, 2 for 20. And that is pretty much it. The Miami Dolphins offense in the first half, they only got 1 touchdown. We'll talk about it now. First quarter, game just started. Miami ends up preferring to kick the ball, so they get the ball. Kansas gets the ball. They end up driving in the first. It was like amazing. I was like, wow, that was a quick offensive play. 4 minutes, they got a touchdown. So Rashee Rice, 11-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes. Miami goes down 7-0. Second quarter starts, and right at the beginning, they kick another field goal. Kansas goes up 10-7. And this is where I thought Miami really did have a chance. You see, I know what people are going to say. Tua underthrew Tyreek. I don't care. 25-mile-per-hour wins, 30-mile-per-hour wins, whatever the case may be. Even Patrick Mahomes threw a couple underthrown passes. Whatever it is, it was still a touchdown to Tyreek. So he gets a nice 53-yard pass from Tua. Dolphins are down 7-10. And I'm like, wow, Miami does have a big shot to at least try to win this game. The defense, even with all your players out, remember, I'm not blaming anything on the injuries because the defense did great. I'm just going to call them out. You have Javon Holland, he was injured. You have Xavier Howard, injured. You have your 2 edge rushers, injured, IR for the rest of the year. You have your tackle out. And then you have, Blonde, Van Dyke, injured. Not Van Dyke. Oh my gosh, no, that's What am I talking about? Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel out. Right there, I just named you 5 or 6 starters. The defense held up. They did what they had to do. And Miami ends up only allowing 2 more field goals in the fourth quarter. We go into the third quarter down 16-7. Miami has the ball. Miami opens up a 3 and out. I just couldn't believe it. Another 3 and out. And then 7 minutes and 49 seconds, Harrison, another field goal. So they go up 19-7. Fourth quarter comes up, and I'm thinking Miami just needs 1 touchdown to be back into this game. And unfortunately, Isaiah Pacheco gets a 3-yard touchdown run, 26-7. And just like that, the Dolphins end up losing in the wild card first round. There's a lot of question marks, I think, going into next season. But if I have to talk about what Miami's offense did in the last 3 games, it's been really bad. We didn't do much against the Ravens. We didn't do much against the Bills. And now we didn't do anything against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this was probably the worst one. And that's a huge credit to Kansas's defense. They played outstanding. Outstanding. But when you're thinking that you have all these players out, that it was going to be a blowout. And if you're going to put the blame on one team, it has to be offensively. I know that Tua did not have a great game. He didn't. There was a couple times where he looked at his first read, couldn't see it, and then he was already getting pressured, couldn't see the second read. He'll get sacked, or he'll just throw it away, or try to run with his legs. He did a lot better this game, I think, running with his legs than he has in the entire season. Maybe it's that they're trying to protect him. Maybe it's that he's a little scared that he doesn't want to get hit. But it is something that you want to look forward to in the future of him trying to fix that problem. But Miami, I don't know what Coach McDaniel is doing. I mean, if I go out here and I tell you the stats of the game, it just wasn't too good because Miami, on third down, they were 1 for 12. Do you know what that is? There was, I think, 3 times or 4 times that Miami was 3rd and short, meaning 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 3. And Mike McDaniel decides to do a bubble screen or a pass to Tyreek. And I just say to myself, why are you doing this? On my last episode, I said it. Mike McDaniel needs to learn to get your tight end open. He needs to learn that not everything is throwing. You need to rush the ball, especially when you know it's cold. You know that people don't want to throw the ball. You just got to run it. You have great running backs. Achane, Mostert, and Wilson. They could run the ball for you. And unfortunately, he just didn't run the ball. And if you're right there to running the ball, just a yard, 2 or 3 to get that first down, you didn't do it. That's like simple football. You just got to do it. You got to get that first down. And I also said whoever owns the time of possession is going to win the game. Kansas City had 34 minutes and 5 seconds. Dolphins had 25 minutes and 55 seconds. But let me just tell you that we got an extra 4 minutes because of the end of the game. It was not like that. The entire game, Kansas was dominating it. Miami just could not get anything going on third down, and we just punt the ball. Also, punting was pretty bad, but I can tell because of the weather, it was just pretty bad. But remember, rushing, Miami did not rush enough. I think if we're looking at something, right, passing, the Dolphins threw 39 passes. We only ran the ball 18 times. And don't get me wrong, maybe it's because at the end of the game, we were just throwing. But do you know what that is? We only ran 18 times. And we only got 76 yards. You got to keep running the ball, dude. You really do. If you could have controlled that, you would have gotten first downs and you would have kept it moving. Maybe you could have just punched one into the end zone. Who knows? But I just feel like Mike McDaniel needs to, like I said, learn how to get his tight ends open. Learn how to not always make everything about Tyreek, because I know that everything was a lot about Tyreek this season. But there's a lot of times where I've said it. You need short yardage plays. I do not know why McDaniel always wants to do like a 20-yard pass or a 15-yard pass. Sometimes you could do a short pass and then run it. There was a lot of times where they tried to do a screen pass. I think it was to Achane, and they did that like 5 times. And I think every single time he ended up getting knocked down. He didn't pass more than 10 yards anytime. So it was a little stressful having to watch that offensive game plan. But credit, like I said, just got to credit to Kansas City. Now, a lot of people are thinking there's a lot of question marks going into next season for what's going to happen to Tua, Mike McDaniel, and our GM. I don't think any of them get let go. I think that Tua is a great quarterback. He hasn't become elite yet. He still has to prove that. He hasn't done it yet. And I will say, I know that people say this is his 4th season. No, I don't believe that. I think this is mostly about his third season or second, because when he was under Brian Flores, remember, he didn't even start the season. He went out there, played a couple games, he would get taken out, and he was pretty much being babied. Then the second season, same thing. But then once you get to that third and fourth season, when you're with Mike McDaniel, you saw this offense get better. And it's been getting nothing but better. I mean, if I'm going to be real with you, I've never seen the Dolphins win a playoff game. But damn, these are the best 2 seasons I've ever watched of Miami Dolphins football. And I'm really happy that this is like, I've never seen a great offense like this. So on one side, I'm happy. On one side, I am a little disappointed that the season did end a little bit short. But then now you're not going to probably have Xavier Howard for the next season. We got to still worry about what's going to happen with their offensive line. You have to probably re-sign Mostert, Wilson. You're going to have to see what you're going to do with, Christian Wilkins, because he deserves a contract. He really does. If there's one player on this Dolphins team that deserves a contract, it is Christian Wilkins. He is honestly my favorite player on the Dolphins defensive side of the game, of the ball, and he needs to get it. He needs to get that contract. Miami cannot let him walk at all. I don't know if you're going to franchise tag him, but whatever it is, do not do that. Just give him the contract. He deserves his money. He bet on himself. He doubled in sacks, tackles, did everything he has to do. He's the number one player that I always see going out there, and he deserves it. He loves Miami. He wants to be here. He loves the team. He loves the coach. He loves Tua. He loves everybody. Give him the money. He deserves it. On top of that, I wonder what they're going to do with Jalen Waddle. I know that he's going to be under contract for another year, but we got to get him rolling. We got to get him rolling for next year. I know that he passed 1,000 yards for the third time in Dolphins season. First, I think Dolphins ever do it, but we need to get him more open, right? Usually the Dolphins offense is built around getting one person open. So you have a bunch of people decoying and then the pass goes to one area. That's where that player is supposed to be. But you just can't do that all the time. You know, you have to create plays. You have to do short yardage games. And I'll always go back to it. If you ever watched the Dolphins versus the Cardinals about 2 or 3 years ago, no, 2.5 seasons ago, you see Tua end up driving down the field and we did short yardage pass, run the ball, worked, run another one, short yardage pass, we win the game. That's what I wish we saw. I think the best time that we saw that this season was against the Cowboys, but we got to just continue to do that. I think the offense will evolve as time goes on, but still a lot to learn. Do I think Mike McDaniel gets fired? No, I don't. I do think that, I don't know if he'll be in the hot seat next year, but the way that I'm looking at it, I think that we've only been to the playoffs 5 times in the last 20 years. And he's been the one that's made it back-to-back years. He's the one that's made it the most out of any coach in our tenure in the last 20 years, which is wild. So I don't know if you guys paid attention yesterday, but the Lions ended up beating the Rams, and they finally broke their streak. I think it was since 94 they hadn't won a playoff game. Now the Dolphins hold that record. And one more thing. Dwayne Wade got drafted, had his whole Hall of Fame career here in Miami, ends up retiring, and throughout that whole time, the Dolphins still couldn't win a championship. I mean, a playoff game. When I saw that stat yesterday, I was like, I cannot believe this. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know before we do anything, please subscribe. It does help me out a lot. On YouTube, Excuse the Miamians. And if you guys can, go on Spotify. I am there as well, Excuse the Miamians. Go on Apple Podcasts as well. Look up the same name, Excuse the Miamians. And I do want to say, I am not only a Dolphins channel. I do love all my Miami sports. I used to grow up watching everything, but the number one team I always followed was the Miami Heat. Now that the Dolphin season's over, I will be focusing a lot more into the Dolphins, Inter Miami, most likely the Florida Panthers and other teams, but the Panthers are on a roll. The Heat are playing pretty good, and Inter Miami, I mean, they have Messi, they have a bunch of stuff. If you've ever heard any of my old podcasts, I do a good job of covering, I think, all 3 teams. So let's just hope I can keep doing it. But if you guys are here, don't always think I'm only a Dolphins fan. I hope to see you guys here next season. If there's any big Dolphins news, I will be talking about it. I will have another Dolphins episode coming out, I believe maybe either this week, next week, or the week after that. Just doing my year review and my letter grade for the Dolphins season. So I hope you guys stick around for that one. But I'm always going to love my Miami sports, and I'm always going to love the Miami Dolphins. No matter how bad our seasons are, I'll always be here watching them. With that being said, I love you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much for everybody's support. I think we're up at like 30, 31, 32 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. And if you guys can, spread the word. I appreciate it. Follow the Twitter. It's at Love Miami Sports. And with that being said, or just look up Excuse the Miamians. I'll be there. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.